welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic.
Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy at the request of Patreon subscriber Swaggery, and this is Aminatou Esper Miracles. Aminatou is a 3-mana planeswalker that costs Esper mana. +1, draw a card, put a card from your hand on top of your library. This is important because it's not card advantage, just card selection. -1, exile another target permanent you own, then return it to the battlefield under your control. This is an immediate flicker. The card goes away, then comes back right away. It's not an until end of turn thing. And -6, choose left or right. Each player gains control of all non-land permanents other than Aminatou, controlled by the next player in the chosen direction. Mostly flavor text, but I have played Aminatou before and used this ultimate. The first two abilities are the important ones, though. Draw a card, put a card from your hand on top of your deck. Why would we want to do this? There's some passive card selection, but it's not worth 3 mana of difficult to assemble colors and a planeswalker to do that. Like, we have Brainstorm, we have Preordain, we have Ponder. Why are we doing this? And for that, we go to Triumph of St. Catherine. The miracle mechanic in general, it's nice to be able to put those on top of your deck on purpose, but Triumph specifically is a card that is way better if it costs 2 and you know it's coming than if it's randomly miracled or if you have to spend 5 on it. This is the biggest upgrade from the last times I played Aminatou. I've done this more than once, and the last time was pretty recent, but Triumph of St. Catherine wasn't online yet. This is a huge change for the deck. This is something worth setting up. This deck also contains a Stoneforge Mystic package. We've got Batterskull, Cauldra, and Cryptic Coat in the package here. Stoneforge Mystic is a card that searches your deck for an equipment, and sometimes you've drawn all your equipments. Aminatou could put an equipment back on top of your deck, then Stoneforge could get it. Now we have created card advantage, which is extra cool because Batterskull and Cryptic Coat can put themselves back into your hand from the battlefield if we end up in a spot to set this up. The minus ability, exile another target permanent, return to the battlefield. This incentivizes us to play things with enter the battlefield abilities, like Stoneforge Mystic, like Cryptic Coat, like Batterskull or Cauldra Complete if your germ gets answered. You can reset the loyalty on a different planeswalker. You could Solitude something. You can also just untap a land if you need 1 more mana. The last time I played Aminatou, the deck didn't have a lot of stuff to do with the -1 ability, and I just felt like I was spending 3 mana on a card that didn't do much. This build of the deck has way more flickers, or way more things worth flickering. Bowmaster, Baleful Strikes in addition to everything else I said already. Mystic Sanctuary, get another spell back. A lot of cool tricks here, plus Triumph of St. Catherine and Stoneforge Mystic both make the +1 better. I'm pretty excited about this. Let's get into it. This is Esper Aminatou from Swaggery. The goal of today's deck is to put everyone to sleep, which is perfect because this video is sponsored by Manta Sleep. The Manta Sleep Mask provides 100% blackout with 0 eye pressure. I really can't see anything right now. Good morning. The mask is fully adjustable to fit the unique shape of your head. And these eye cups, the C shape means that they don't touch your eyelids or eyelashes while you're sleeping, and the curve fits the side of your head, designed with side sleepers in mind. I'm applying some pressure right now. It honestly feels pretty good. As a full-time creator and tournament traveler, my schedule can get weird. I'm a big fan of the midday power nap, and this mask from Manta Sleep immediately leveled up my nap game. Check out my link in the comments and video description and use code BoshNRoll for 10% off your order. I'm on the play for round 1. This hand has Force of Will. I just realized I'm against Tony Scaponi. Force of Will is an important card to have. I don't really like that I only have 2 lands. I do like the Narset. I am going to try this. I just realized there are no Surveil lands in this build, which might be a mistake. Tony's got a Leyline of Anticipation. Whatever was going to happen can now happen when he wants. Just bobbled me and saw Teferi, which is funny because it turns off Leyline of Anticipation if I ever get to cast it. Okay, the rules are different now. Opponent can do whatever they want, whenever they want. Bauble trigger. Another bauble. Son Narset off this bauble. We're getting closer to important cards. I'd really like to find a land. I feel like in this 80 card Yorion deck, we should have a couple Surveil lands. Sucks to notice that immediately in first round. Just the drag time between when these decks are submitted and when they get played sometimes causes issues like that. This deck was submitted when Triumph came out on Magic Online, which was slightly before we got Murders at Karlov Manor. Okay, so no lands from the opponent. Now I'm getting griefed. Jesus. Alright, well, the game is over. Grief pitching Orcish Bowmaster, so this is some sort of wheel deck. Force of Will's gone. And now I probably lose. Lotus Petal LED, another LED. Green Black, Entomb. An Echo of Eons is the obvious thing to get here, which gives me a fresh hand, but I am a Yorion deck. So that Grief was a 2-for-1 just to clear the Force of Will, which was necessary because I would definitely win if I cast Force of Will here. Ended up with a Force Negation that doesn't work because it's my turn. Thoughtseize kind of sick though. Yeah, turning off part of my forces with Leyline is some subtle BS. Getting griefed again, still in my upkeep. And I can't even F6 and let this happen because it's my turn. It took the Thoughtseize, and this grief could have been hard cast and wasn't, so I assume there's a lot more coming. Charbelcher, well, can't counter that. Not currently. Also explains why opponent missed a land drop. There was not a land in the deck to play. So now it's opponent's job to come up with 3 mana before I resolve a spell. And it's weird that it hasn't happened yet because they knew the coast was clear. I'm going to fetch in the end step, see if I die in response. Grab a Tundra. And do I die in my upkeep? Okay, we've gotten this far. I'm just going to shove to Fairy. I think that makes more sense than trying to hold up Force. If an opponent wants to win, they can. If they can't win, Teferi is the nuts. Chrome Mox in response. Pitching Tendrils, also a card in the deck. Elvish Spirit Guide pitched. Orcish Bowmaster. I actually am totally fine with that because it doesn't literally kill me. It'll be a problem as this game goes long, but I'm not dead to Goblin Charbelcher right now. Now I have a choice to make. I could bounce this Chrome Mox, set them back the only mana source they've got. I could clear the Bowmaster, then I die to anything off the top. Yeah, I'm going to bounce the Charbelcher. Just make you figure that out. Drew a Plow, that's good. At least delete that GG button. Attack for 3 is good. And we're into my turn, which means less than it normally would. Scrubland. And I'm going to wait to interact on opponent's turn. Now I'm holding up Force and Plow, or double Plow with Pitch Force backup. The Orc army is attacking, which means I don't have to do anything yet. End step, Plow the Bowmaster. Okay, we got through that. Terminus. What a waste of a Plow. I'm going to fire it, though. Take the pressure off. If only I knew. It is not a miracle. I'm going to leave up Force rather than putting Yorion in my hand. Bauble. That was clearly just drawn, or else it would have been in play already. And I can Mystic Sanctuary Thoughtseize back here. I'm going to do that. Let's get a look at that hand, see what's going on over there. If Thoughtseize resolves and the coast is clear, then I can also Lorien reveal this turn. You draw for Bauble. I draw Thoughtseize. Send the Thoughtseize. What's going on over there? Tell me more. Dark Ritual in response. Chrome Mox in response. Exiling another Ritual. Grief. That's annoying. Well, at least I have the Plow, but I do lose my Lorien revealed, which was my refill here. So opponent's Hellbent and empty. I am close to Hellbent and empty here. Did take Lorien. And now I can put Yorion in my hand. Yorion and Lorien. The best of friends. I'm at 10. You're Hellbent with 2 mana. Let's go. Yorion, let's get the job done. A Flooded Strand, not a useful card. I'm just going to put my 4/5 into play and start bashing. 0 value. Just tutored at 8 mana 4/5 from the nowhere zone. And opponent didn't do anything. Force is back up here. Ooh. Time to shift some fates. Okay, blue, black, white. I could still cast Force, so shifting this land out of my hand is actually good. Do you have Orcish Bowmaster? No. All right. Drew another Flooded Strand. Put back the first one. Fetching's awkward here because he knows I have Force of Negation, and spending 3 mana on that. Like if I fetch, could respond. Oh, just hard casting Elder Spirit Guide. Sick. All right. Well, I can fetch now while the shields are down. Get an island. Okay, the beats are coming. Must be more worried about my life total than Aminatou. Or, nope. Attacking Aminatou, sure. Doesn't want a Planeswalker in play. That's reasonable. Draw for turn is Prismatic Ending. Plus Aminatou. Put back this island. Attack with Yorion. And I'm going to Prismatic Ending one of the Chrome Moxes. That's also turns off Mox Opal. That takes 2 mana out of play. Aminatou goes down to 1. I can fetch. Get another Underground Sea. How about a spell deck? Hook me up. Oh, that's a really good spell. It's a miracle. Triumph. She's in there. Plus Aminatou. Interesting. I'll put back the Preordain. I could have put back the Force and then Preordained into the Force and gotten a card's worth of selection, or I could just keep Force in my hand and get a full Preordain's value next turn. More interested in that, for sure. Entomb. I'm going to let this resolve. I could counter Echo of Eons if that ends up on the stack. Needs to come up with 2 mana and one of it blue before that's even a concern. Okay. We're in my upkeep. Chrome Mox. Opponent will end up hellbent if anything gets pitched to this, which it did not. That turns on Mox Opal, but it's not enough. Okay, now it's enough. I'm just going to counter this Echo. Opponent's probably just betting that I tried to do something clever with the Aminatou, or that I just messed up somehow. I did neither of those things, let me tell you. Bottom Batterskull, top Stoneforge. Play Stoneforge. Alright, had enough. Cool. That was a weird game. Lavinia coming in, Force of Negations coming in. Stony Silence, the nuts. Stony Silence should usually just be Null Rod in most decks, unless you have enchantment synergies. Like Energy Flux steps on Null Rod a little bit, but it doesn't step on Stony Silence, but still just like there will be games where you have like Island and Underground Sea in your opening hand with Stony Silence, and that makes it harder to cast the card. And that's the type of card that you don't want to mess around with. Energy Flux is interesting. That would be a complete blowout if it happens. And I guess I'm this 80 card pile. I should probably respect it. Opponent did do some graveyard stuff. Let's see what the sideboard plan looks like. The Terminus is not completely irrelevant, but it's also not good. Uh-oh, I like every card. It sucks when combo players have a bunch of creatures in their deck too, because then normally I would just cut all my Swords to Plowshares in this situation and bring in this other stuff. But you can't really do that knowing that Orcish Bowmaster is in the deck. I guess I have my own Bowmaster to challenge their Bowmaster. Winning fast isn't really a priority. I could shave 2 Stoneforges and Batterskull. I still have Cryptic Coat and Cauldron to get with the 2 Stoneforges I have. This lets me keep a Swords to Plowshares and get all these cards. Do I think Swords to Plowshares is better than any of the Prismatic Endings? Do I think Baleful Strix is too slow? Yeah, I'm going to cut a Strix and get another Plow back in. The Bowmaster Wheel thing is part of their deck for real. I'm going to stop here for now. If we get a game 3, I might readjust. Hey, my hand is not good against Belcher or Scam. I am going to mulligan this. Tony and I have this fun level system going, and we've talked about it on his podcast, Brews of Paradise, where, all right, I'll keep this one, where I am willing to keep hands without free permission versus combo decks, because I bet that combo decks have to slow down to fight against me anyway. But he knows that, and I know he knows that. So whether we end up with decks that can, whether he tries to turn 1 me and whether I have 0 mana permission in my deck is a complete crapshoot. I'm getting Mishra's Bobbled. Went to 6 over there. No Leyline, that's good news. And I get to put Deafening Silence on the stack. Tundra, D-Silence. Have to get Tundra so I can cast Counterspell next turn. Drawing Force in the interim so messed up. Deafening Silence is the sort of lights out nonsense that you want versus a Belcher style deck. He also knows about this force from the bauble. Saw that one. Getting griefed, sure. Have a look. Handful of permission, F6. Force is gone. And this is kind of a crazy 1-2 punch situation where Deafening Silence makes it so he has to play out artifacts one at a time, and then Energy Flux will eat up all the artifacts eventually. And the deck has no lands in it. Okay, just made no plays that turn. Oh, it is not a miracle. Is it a miracle? Is this fine? This might be a little risky, but I'm going to send it. Because even if he does LED Echo, am I even worried about that? Like, he's got to remove the silence first. This might have been risky tapping out of the counterspell, but it is on the opponent to deal with what I'm presenting here. And I don't actually care if we both draw 7 right now. We got the GGs in the chat, though. All right, good risk. Insane first game. Crushing sideboard second game. Cool deck, though. I hope to see more of that. Win your spot in the World Series of Poker main event in Las Vegas. Club GG is providing 100 exclusive packages between April 1st and June 30th for those who want to test their skills against the best. Each package includes the $10,000 main event entry fee plus $2,000 for travel. Use code BOSH for a free 7-day premium membership that includes entry to these satellite tournaments. I'm on the play for round 2. I'm going to keep this hand. It's got lands, basics if they need to be, and a force and multiple threats. I'm not going to play around Stifle. I never do. Until my opponent shows me that they actually have Stifle in their deck. That's not a card I respect ever. Lotus Petal. Uh-oh. Personal Tutor. All right, we're playing against Doomsday. And the Doomsday's on top of the deck now. This is a fun little case for Prismatic Ending. Yeah, it didn't draw another blue source, so can't hold up Counterspell here. But Prismatic Ending taking a poke and a mana source when they just put a BBB cost card on top of their deck. Pretty interesting. Doing that versus holding up Orcish Bowmaster. Hopefully that takes off some of their ability to combo. Maybe even their ability to cast Doomsday at all. Alright, they will cast Doomsday. I will try to force it. They're stacking Edge of Autumn in response. That makes me think they don't have an answer to this. Yeah, cool. Got through that. And now they're down 2 mana sources. Okay. They're digging. They're in the hole. This is a lot to come back from. But I never count out Doomsday, ever. Oh, weird. Magic Online had a downtime earlier this week where they changed some stuff. And I just realized that the chat, here I'll pull it out, now says, chooses not to use Ponder's ability. It used to say, did not shuffle their library. Ugh. I assume that Ponder's ability means shuffling the library. Weird. I don't like that. Okay, I could play Teferi here, who doesn't do much. I think holding up Bowmaster is the line. Stoneforge hits harder, but I feel like not tapping out, presenting strength is interesting. The Personal T, it's in. Another Doomsday on top. That means they have a black source in their hand, or else they wouldn't have prioritized that so. Underground Sea unlocks all my colors. Orcish Bowmaster hopefully makes the Doomsday a little more annoying. We're in there with that. Okay, you're at 18. Ooh, I could Preordain and Stoneforge here. I'm going to attack first. And I'm going to Stoneforge and just get Kaldra, present the most possible damage for next turn. I'm playing around Daze, though I guess getting Dazed is great for me. Yeah, grabbing Kaldra, cast Preordain. Didn't find a force, so I'm just going to bottom both of these. And playing out my land gives up that I don't have any interaction. Okay, one of us is dead here. If they can, from 2 mana and 2 additional cards, resolve Doomsday and then win the game with a no-pass pile, they deserve it. Wow, they're just sacking lands to Edge of Autumn into the Bowmaster. This is, they do have 1 mana left. If the card in their hand is Brainstorm, does that beat me? No, I don't think so. Because they go to the 7 when Doomsday resolves, and then they have to Brainstorm, they go to 4. Yeah, I don't know. They couldn't figure it out. Cool. Luckily, I didn't have to either. Force of Negation, Lavinia are cards I want. I think Deafening Silence and Null Rod effects are both traps versus Doomsday. Because Deafening Silence makes it so they can't Dark Ritual into Doomsday. And if they cast Doomsday, they can't fight over your Force of Will. But also if you get into a dragging mid-game situation where what you want to do is like ponder and preordain your way into some action, it could stop you from doing that. And then Stony Silence only affects like 2 or 3 cards in their deck. I'm actually going to think more about the Deafening Silence, because 60 card heuristics versus 80 card heuristics. Maybe I just need any card that could do anything. Prismatic Ending's not good. Terminus is not good. Swords to Plowshares handle some jukes. They bring in Shieldred or Dothy Voidwalker or that kind of thing. The Plow is useful. This is my first draft at a sideboard plan. Solitude's probably worse than Plow. Are there any cards that just don't work or don't make sense anymore in my deck? Does it make sense? Are any of these white removal spells better than Deafening Silence? Probably not. Yeah, I think even after my speech, I'm still going to go with Deafening Silence just because there's nothing better. But like, if this was a lean 60 card deck with only 5 cards to cut or 4 cards to cut instead of 6, then I would not be too worried about getting Silence in. Surgical is good if you answer the first Doomsday, where I usually do actually like Surgical versus Doomsday when I have Thoughtseize in my deck, but again, we're on 60 versus 80 heuristics, which I might be putting too much weight on. And maybe I should just play the game the way that I would regardless. I like Cryptico for the blue count. Batterskull. Alright, I'm going to make Batterskull into a Surgical. I'll make that little switch. I don't really want to draw Surgicals against their deck unless I'm already winning somehow. I will keep this. The Lorien Revealeds are lands just forever. I can lean on Deafening Silence and maybe slow them down a bit. And I have to fetch Plains to kick this off anyway, because then Lorien gets the land for Ponder. Opponent's on 6. Fetching for Underground Sea. And Ponder. Okay. Not a personal tutor. They're not going quite as fast as they did last game. Wait, now this didn't tell me what they did with Ponder at all. It just says, cast Ponder, draws a card with Ponder. Does that mean they did use Ponder's ability? I'm going to leave some feedback about that. I think that is weird and bad. Deafening Silence. I'm just going to launch it. Because they could have hands where this just sucks. But I also do have the hand with multiple Ponders in it, where cantripping into other spells and cantripping multiple times in a turn might be an important part of my plan. But if they're going to go like Lotus Petal Go, because that's their spell for the turn, then Deafening Silence actually looks pretty good right now. Okay, Ponder. Ooh, that Thoughtseize is nice. Okay, I'm going to take the Thoughtseize, and luckily I just drew a land that could cast it. I guess I could have Lorien for that, so that doesn't really matter. But that Brainstorm on top of my deck is a card that I would have been very excited to see. I guess I'm still excited because it's an instant. I could cast it on their turn. Yeah, I'm keeping the Brainstorm. I'm not going to shuffle that away. They had a Brainstorm in my end step. That's good news. And if they just have to raw a Doomsday here. No, they had Consider. Cool. That's their spell. And in the pool, are we just casting Thassa's Oracle? Trying to think of what creature spells would be in this deck. Oh, Murktide Regent. That one's pretty good. I'll force that. Force pitching Lorien Revealed. I'm about to Thoughtseize them anyway if this was a juke. Or if this was some sort of distraction. Not that worried about it. I have more blue-blue cards in my deck than white-white cards, so Underground Seas might get here. Thoughtseize, let me see them. Doomsday, Dark Ritual, Shieldred. Okay, well, that's a lot of spooky stuff. If I take the Shieldred, then they need a mana source before Doomsday goes anywhere. However, if Doomsday goes anywhere, that's really good for them. Yikes. Alright, well, they can't Dark Ritual into Doomsday. They can Dark Ritual into Shieldred. And I'm not ready to play against this card. Alright, I'm going to take the Shieldred. I can't take them off Doomsday anyway. So we just send it. Please don't have a black land right now. Okay. They're brainstorming. Move some cards around, that's fine. I will be doing the same. There's no reason to brainstorm in response because I can't draw a counterspell I could cast. Swamp. Alright, they're set up for next turn. End step, brainstorm. Put back these lands because I'm cycling for a land anyway. I think I get Tundra here. Tundra. Baleful Strix, that's not exactly pretty. I can cast that and Ponder, though. I'm going to start with Ponder. Force of Negation and another Deafening Silence. I'm happy with this Force of Negation. Don't shuffle and do cast Baleful Strix. This is not a long-term solution because they have 2 Doomsdays. I'll fight over one of them. That's one down, and they haven't shuffled since the brainstorm, so there was no shenanigans moving cards around. A Tundra, put Yorion in my hand. Cat, attack with Baleful Strix. This one's not looking great, I'm going to be honest. And I'll double up the D-Silence, give them perfect information to work with. Because they can... Like, cycles are not spells. There's plenty of pass the turn piles that could get Thassa's Oracle presented without casting more than one spell. And the Oracle itself is a creature. They made that pile really fast, actually. I'm going to screenshot the deck, just in case we need to reference that. I see Subtlety, multiple Shieldreds, Brazen Borrower, the One Ring. Okay. Draw for turn, hope it's good. Island's not that good. Attack with Strix. I'll at least play around Daze. And there's no black card I could draw that could matter, but if I draw Swords to Plowshares and they have to make a small pile, killing the Oracle might matter. So I will flicker Baleful Strix and leave up white. Force of Negation. I didn't know about that. Okay, if they win this turn, they win. Dark Blast, that's cool. Dark Blast, you dredge the draw. Now there's only 2 cards left in your deck. That's a cool trick. I've never seen that before. And Force of Negation does not answer Thassa's Oracle. So it could just be SOL here. However, I can put Mystic Sanctuary on top of my deck. And they have to win now. So there's not a pass pile here. But if their plan was to, like, cantrip into the Oracle, nope. And Swords to Plowshares actually would have been good here. GG. That was a tight one. Just seeing 3 cards that you can't beat off of a single Thoughtseize from a 4-card hand. Tough beats. Okay. We've seen Shieldreds. I already have some plows in. I think the Silence actually was pretty good and bought me a lot of time that game. I could get another plow in. I could get Solitude in. I guess Solitude better than Triumph. Triumph hits pretty hard, but Solitude is also a 5-mana effect, but can impact something like Shieldred a lot better. I'm going to switch one Triumph into a Solitude, and I'll try it like this. There's that D-Silence again, with no other action, really. I am going to keep this, though. If they're on a creature pivot, I'm ready for it. Narset is a hammer. Aminatou can reset Narset and get me extra cards. I am banking pretty hard on Deafening Silence getting this game to turn 3 for me. Tundra, D-Silence. I have been good, though. 3 for 3 at drawing Deafening Silence in my opening hand against combo decks. After boarding in 2 into my 80-card deck. Good conversion rate on that. I don't know if the spell's actually good, but it was really good against Tony. It's mid to maybe fine here. Jace the Mind Sculptor. End step fetch. We saw an Undercity Sewers. Yeah, there it is. When they Doomsdayed. And they like the card. Hate that for me. Lotus Petal, that's your spell. Daze and Force of Will are both on here. Ooh, I can make them off, though. Fetch. Do I care about Scrubland, or do I care more about having Mystic Sanctuary on? I think I care more about Mystic Sanctuary. White versus black. Guess I could Baleful Strix into Thoughtseize. Alright, I'll get an Underground Sea. And I'm just gonna put the Great Tester out here to Fairy Time Raveler. If they have a counterspell, it's now or never. Straight Wraith in response. Not a spell. And Force Pitching Murktide. I'm going to stop to pretend to think about this for a second and let it resolve. Okay. Narset's the one I actually care about. They've got an island and a pass. Okay. That Force pitched a Murktide, which is actually pretty dope. Well, they wouldn't have Forced last turn if they had Daze. I think Narset is the play here. This is the thing that is most disruptive to them and most powerful for me. Ponder over the second plow. Thoughtseize, have a look. Nothing particularly great here. Nothing as good as Narset, that's for sure. If they Thoughtseize the plow, then go land Shieldred. Opponent said they haven't seen these Planeswalkers before in the match, and they're not ready for them. Yeah, 80-card deck, a few Planeswalkers floating around in here. GG's, and we're 2-0. Let's roll.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks. and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the play for round number 3. Island Ponder. Okay, I'm going to cast Ponder. Orcish Bowmaster, Swords to Plowshares, another land. I like these cards, and I'm going to keep them in the order where my opponent can't Thoughtseize a Orcish Bowmaster from me. The chat log says I chose not to use Ponder's ability. So I guess last game where my opponent, where it just said opponent draws with Ponder, then they did use the ability. Blue to Delta. I'm going to stop obsessing about the Ponder thing. Okay, here we go. I was then going to stop, but I'm going to look. Draws a card with Ponder. Cast Ponder, draws a card with Ponder. I assume they shuffled. Okay, my next card down is a land. So I'm going to shuffle whether I end up casting this Bowmaster or not. We could be against Grixis Delver, could be against Rescaminator, could be against Doomsday again, could be the Epic Storm, could be Ad Nauseam Tendrils, could be the Mirror Match. Well, it can't be the Mirror Match. They didn't reveal Yorion. We ruled out something. Uh-oh. This is big if true. Okay, well, if it's Doomsday, they could daze here. If it's Storm, they could just win after the Brainstorm resolves. All right, that resolved quickly. I think we're against Storm, and we could just lose this turn, despite getting this great exchange. We're going to find out soon. The Swords to Plowshares and Aminatou the Fate Shifter in my hand looking pretty sad right now. The Brainstorm has resolved. Let's see if there's a Lion's Eye Diamond in my near future. Blue to Delta. Grief pitching Animate Dead. Okay, so it's Rescaminator. This is a deck that could definitely beat a Bowmaster, but it's not just going to go completely over the top and kill me now. Probably going to lose my Swords to Plowshares right now, would be my guess. Because that card's really good against Rescaminator at any phase of the game. And this could also be like Death Shadow or just blue-black scam without the Reanimator. Possibilities are open, but Grief pitching Animate Dead is pretty telling. Reanimate's going to take Aminatou. They're down to 10. Okay. Big draws. So this is a little awkward because I would like to set up Mystic Sanctuary for Swords to Plowshares, but neither, like fetching Basic Island with Vista now doesn't cast Aminatou, and fetching Tundra with Mystic Marsh Flats now, Prismatic Vista doesn't get Mystic Sanctuary. I think I'm going to lean in the direction of setting up Mystic Sanctuary over, or I'm going to lean in the direction of having good mana between those two options. All right, got dazed. All good. Again, attack for 4. They are working with perfect information here. If they untap and Entomb Reanimate, that's going to happen. I could just F6, because I have no further agency here. Grief didn't block, also didn't attack. I'll play the land they know about, because they can't fetch Mystic Sanctuary anyway. Attack for 4. We're getting a chump. And I'll put Yorion in the grip. Okay, no Entombs forthcoming here. Swamp. They did play a land last turn, so didn't rule out anything there. Bowmaster's pretty good. Kills my Bowmaster. Does not answer my 4/4. And they know I've got Batterskull coming down in the future. Or Yorion. Reanimating my Bowmaster still doesn't solve any of their problems. Guess they could trade their whole board for my Orc army. Ooh, Force of Will's nice. I'm going to attack for 4. They got to block with at least one thing here. There. Literally at 4. And now I have kind of an annoying thing to figure out, which is I can back up Batterskull with Force of Will, but Yorion just flies for their life total. I think I would rather have Force of Will up here. They also can't reanimate Batterskull. They can reanimate Yorion. Okay, Force pitching Force. This is the universe I played to. I'm going to force you back. I have 2 lethal threats. You have 2 chump blockers. And you have to win from Hellbent. And they scooped. Yorion does read you own and control, so I couldn't flicker my Bowmaster back. Not a line. Okay. We are against at least Scam, possibly even Rescaminator. I like Surgical Extraction. I like Lavinia. I don't like Force of Negation. I like all my white cards. I like Thoughtseize. Force of Will is always interesting because, like, they do some powerful stuff, and sometimes you want to fight over it, but also you really want to 2-for-1 yourself against their medium speed stuff, and they're going to grief you so many times that it's not even reliable anyway. Yeah, I'm just going Surgicals. Surgicals and Lavinias, all of my free permission out. Yeah, like Thoughtseize and Ponder. I don't like that I don't have white mana, but I'm keeping. I have more faith in my deck to deliver a white source before I lose than I do for it to give me a better hand than this on 6. Show me those thoughts. Orcish, Bowmaster, and Reanimate. Those are the same card, functionally. If I take Bowmaster, they have to reanimate at sorcery speed. If I take Reanimate, it has to be a Bowmaster. Like, if I take Bowmaster and they draw Entomb, I'm just wrecked. I'm going to take Reanimate. And off you go. Yeah, or if they Undercity Sewers and spike a monster. That would have been bad to leave them with the Reanimate as well. And I have the Stoneforge Mystic who doesn't care. They kept the card, played Polluted Delta. Okay. And now they're fetching in their own end step. And then passing, sure. All of those are legal things you can do. I'm going to fetch basic planes here. I don't really want to get wasted off of my most important color. Stoneforge Mystic. I know Bowmaster doesn't beat this. I'm going to get Cauldra and just try to send the nuts here. Not trying to get cute with a Batterskull or any such thing. Just make them dead. There's the Bowmaster we knew about. Underground Sea. They have Swamp and 2 unknowns over there. And I've gotten to my turn. That's good news. Aminatou's dope. Now, even if they kill the Germ token, if they have like a Brazen Borrower or Shouldered Edict or something, I can make another one very quickly. In for 5. And Brazen Borrower it is, sure. I could Ponder. That doesn't kill anything. It does make their Orc army bigger. Yeah, I'm going to Ponder. Bunch of lands. Deal. I actually am totally fine just drawing 3 lands at this spot. The race is on. And they cycle Troll of Khazad-dûm in the end step. I'm working with perfect information again. Their hand is 2 lands right now. There's a Swamp. There's an attack for 3. Oh, don't grief me. That would be so shitty. God damn. That's really good. Okay. Hopefully they don't understand what Aminatou represents on this board. That was a really good draw, though. Take the Teferi. Yeah, they took the Teferi. Good news, everyone. Tundra, Aminatou. Exile another permanent I own. How about Cauldra Complete? Comes back, fresh Germ, in for 5. And I don't really want to preordain here. I already know what my next card is. Orcish Bowmaster can't attack. The other 2 cards can. Grief finishes off Aminatou, and they're leaving back the Orc army. That's cool. Anything that's not inflicting damage to me is good right now. Any decision they make that results in that is good. Played the Underground Sea. Drawing my own Underground Sea. I knew about that one. 5/5. They go to 8. I am dying faster than they are. Not ideal. Put Yorion in hand. That can give me extra blockers next turn. There's the Brazen Borrower. They can attack me for 8 this turn. I attack them back for 5. It's going to be a tight race. I'm really glad Orc Army didn't attack last turn. Right, this 8 puts me to 4. I'm not going to block. Alright, here we go. All I could do is turn my creature sideways. Oh no, they had a trick. That's so good. Yeah, that's probably going to kill me. Okay. I mean, that ended up being the same. There's less damage on the board. Okay, block, block, or block, block. Yeah, I'm exactly dead here. Guess I just hope they make a bad attack. I could have tried to ponder into some removal. Yeah, I'm exactly dead. Bummer. They found the line. Okay. 1 life short there. I wonder if there was a fetch land I could have not fetched, or a... There was a turn where I cast Ponder that represented 2 or 3 damage by the end of the game. Was that Ponder even important? We know now with perfect hindsight that that Ponder hit 3 lands, where I would have been way better just not casting the Ponder. But I think it's probably still right to cast it there, though I would have won if I didn't, so maybe it's wrong, depending on what your definition of right versus wrong is in a game of Magic. Ouch, no lander. This is not how you want to start this matchup. Mulligan. 2 surgicals is too many, but this is also too many Cauldras. I'm going to keep this in bottom of Cauldra. Okay, I can at least present Stoneforge Mystic, maybe, and I'm not going to get got by graveyard nonsense. Even if they grief me, I have 2 of the thing that stops it from coming back. A Ponder. I could just do that. I'm actually going to Ponder before they can Bowmaster it. Just playing into Daze here seems like a mistake. Okay, another land and a removal spell. I can keep this. Unfortunately, I can't get basic planes here, which would be perfect. I'm going to have to expose myself to Wasteland, one way or the other. They milled a Troll of Khazad-dûm. Hope they try to reanimate it. Animate dead. I'm going to Surgical this. I know there's a Plow on top of my deck, but Plow can hit any creature anytime. Surgical only hits things in this exact position. Ooh, we got one from hand too. Unlucky. Entomb, Reanimate, Brazen Borrower, Atraxa. That's the grip right now. And get a screenshot of the deck as well. Let's see what's going on here. There's 3 total Brazen Borrowers, 2 Dazes, 2 Forces, 2 Murktides. There's the full 4 Reanimates, only 2 Animate Deads, Voidwalkers. Okay. It's nice when you just randomly spike something from hand out of an opponent. I'm also ready for the next Entomb Reanimate. That's funny. Stay ready. There are 3 Wastelands in their deck, but can't play around them. I'm just going to fetch a Scrubland here and get Stoneforge in the mix. Brazen Borrower is just face up in their hand, which is really good against Cauldra. So I think I'm just going to get the Cryptic Coat and play around the things that I know they have. Hopefully they just try to send Entomb Reanimate this turn. There is not an Archon of Cruelty though, and Atrax is already in their hand. Voidwalker off the top. Okay. Still working with perfect info. Still happy with that. I'd be very happy with a white source here. White land. White land. Orcish Bowmasters. Okay. I can just plow the Dothy and be done with it. I could try to get Cryptic Coat going. I think plowing Dothy and being done with it sounds good. I get to attack for 1 because I don't have anything else to do. This has shown them exactly how weak I am to Wasteland, but their hand currently doesn't beat me. So if they draw Wasteland, I know they still have a hand that doesn't beat me. Played Underground Sea, still have the perfect info. They could try to Entomb Reanimate, just get a Bowmaster or some shit into play here. Grief. Alright, Blowout number 2, which also cuts another 4 win cons out of their deck. Atraxa and Brazen Borrower is the hand. I do need to apply pressure. Slamming Jace the Mind Sculptor here would be pretty cool. Bowmaster. Okay, I think I just pass with all of my mana and abilities up. As if they draw a card, I can go after them with Bowmaster. If they don't, I can put in Cryptic Coat. Oh, there's a card. Bowmaster. Wow, they don't want to take 1 so much that they were thinking about just bouncing that in response to Ponder. Yeah, I think that would have been too aggressive. They backed off their mana. Chose not to use Ponder's ability. They did not shuffle. Murktide Regent. That card's pretty big. 6/6. This would be the turn to draw the land for Jace. Holy smokes. Come on, deck. Oh, no. That's bad. Well, we might just die in 2 hits here. I guess I just pass with my mana up again and hope they don't draw Wasteland. I get 2 more draw steps here. Well, 1 because they have Brazen Borrower. Bowmaster could go Brazen Borrower, though. I'm going to put in the Cryptic Coat here. The Coat's in. The Coat hit a Flooded Strand, of course. Just the card I wanted. They're in the tank in my end step. They could bounce the Cloaked Creature with Brazen Borrower right now and pay the ward. Decided not to do that, which I believe is correct. I missed on my land. I'm just going to attack with everything. Use Orcish Bowmaster to kill their Brazen Borrower if they play that. And then hope to find an answer to this Murktide that is currently soloing me. And if they have Force of Will, they just win. Borrower resolves. Bowmaster. They're in the tank. What are we thinking about? You have a counterspell or you don't? Come on. Who's dead here? Okay, we're in with Bowmaster. I will get to at least play 1 more turn, though the Murktide is lethal. Okay, I need a land to cast Jace, or a Swords of Plowshares, or a Solitude. Oh my god. We're just gonna lose. What a beating. Just Never finding land number 4. Well, I found it, but it's under a cryptic coat. And there's no action here. With an extra land, I could have played Stoneforge, then activated the first one, put in Cauldra for an extra 4 damage, which actually would have been lethal. But I have nothing here. Just dead. 6/6, hit me 3 times. GG. Good pivot. Yep. That's how that went. On to the next round. Welcome to TopDeck.gg, your community's home for everything competitive Magic has to offer. If you're hosting an event, playing for a huge prize, or advertising your events to thousands of players, we've got you covered. Using intuitive pairing software, playing Magic is a breeze. Players just have to sign up online, then scan the QR code in-store. Give competitors the gift of perfect information as their bracket updates in real time. The self-reporting software saves you time and leaves paper match slips in the past. Leave the heavy lifting to TopDeck.gg so your community can relax and focus on playing Magic. On the play for round 4, I'm going to keep this hand. Baleful Strix Gaming. This hand's pretty medium, needs land number 3, but what else is new? Welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. I'm going to see 3 cards before I actually miss that land drop. Verdant Catacombs. Another 2-mana spell, but it's the one with the color that I don't have yet. Fetching in response to Baleful Strix. Bayou. Dark Ritual. Are we Bowmastering? We are. I'm going to force this. I'm not, excited to do this, but I also don't want this thing to be in play right now. Too early for that shit. Nice. Basic Plains on lock. Fetching Narset was a choice that Bayou decks probably, Bayou Dark Ritual decks probably don't care that much about drawing extra cards. Reanimate, sure. Okay, that has occurred. I get to do one of my favorite things here, which is play Stoneforge Mystic and then put in an equipment different than the one that I tutored for. Because I actually have the full spread right in front of me. And if I show them Batterskull and then sneak in Cauldra, it could mess up all their plans. Thoughtseize. What do you want? Yeah, normally Thoughtseize following up a Stoneforge Mystic is the nuts, but here I just have everything. I got them all. Come one, come all. Take a look. Opponents over there playing on 1 land. The Dark Ritual Reanimate start was their game, it seems. I could cast this. Nothing really changes about the board if I do, so I will. Ooh, Triumph and my own Bowmaster. Alright, that does change some stuff. Brainstorm to the bottom. Triumph on top. Bowmaster in my hand now. Okay, you Bowmaster me. I play Tundra. Now that Caldra's gone, I don't need to make any decisions now. And then I can do 2 things. I can do 1 thing in this end step and then 2 things next turn. And the things are cast Bowmaster or do any number of other things. I think I'm more interested in Batterskull being in play than Orcish Bowmaster, honestly. Let's get the Beastskull in. They can decide if they care about Bowmaster versus Cryptic Coat, but either way I get to do 2 things next turn. I do care about Bowmaster. And here comes Dat Girl. It's a miracle. Giant Lifelink squad assembled. Cryptic Coat would cloak a Brainstorm if I were to put it into play, which I think is fine because I'm not casting Brainstorm into this Bowmaster. And they just Thoughtseized my answer to Bowmaster. They're going to have to combo me out somehow here. This deck might have the Witherbloom combo in it or some crazy juke or Entomb Reanimate. Suddenly there's a Grizzlebrand I gotta beat. I never rule out a Dark Ritual deck, basically. Even when they're way behind. Reanimating Baleful Strix. Okay. Looking for a plan here. That does trade with one of my Big O's. But I have 2 Big O's. And an Unblockable O. This is Poetic Justice, because instead of me taking 3 off my Brainstorm with this Orcish Bowmaster, it's going to attack for 3 a bunch of times instead. Teferi Time Raveler. Look at you. That puts my Baleful Strix back in my hand, and they don't get to block it. And I don't care about the size of this Orc army, given the board state. They could, Veil of Summer in response to Teferi, and then it doesn't get to bounce anything. Or I just bounce my Strix, and we're in there. And I drew the land that casts Baleful Strix. We're going off. Yeah, finishing off Teferi, he did his job. I can't block this one. Have to block these 2. This is a free attack. Chumps where chumps go. This is just good, fundamental, limited combat math. Don't miss these points. They're right there. If you determine what has to block what, you could get these cheeky little points in left and right. I imagine a lot of players would have just left back Stoneforge Mystic there because there was a 3/3 in front of it, but there actually wasn't because it had to be somewhere else. Okay, Strix is back, and they're at 3. I'm at 30, F6. Whatever their combo is, it better be good here. Witherbloom combo does win if they can assemble it. Okay. Looks like some green-black Reanimator that never really got off the ground. Surgical's in. I feel like I want my Force of Negations, even though this is almost certainly a Grief deck. Lavinia, Force, Surgical. Is that how I want to play this game? I don't think the Forces are actually important. Yeah, I don't know how Reanimatory they actually are, is the problem. I think I can play without Terminus. Strix is pretty slow and rough versus Bowmaster decks. I want all my white cards. Could cut this Force of Negation. If we just see this game that they are actual, like, Entomb, Reanimate, Grizzlebrand, draw 7, kill you kind of Reanimator, maybe these Forces should come in. Or maybe Prismatic Ending is bad enough against any version of Reanimator that I should just have that. If I do that, I could go up to 2 Forces and not all the way in. Or I could cut another card somewhere. I think I'm going to leave it at 2 Forces here. I just don't have more cards that I'm super excited about cutting. Let's run it. Okay, Force blue card and 2 dope creatures in. So a bunch of Thoughtseize is game 1. That could happen. Grief pitching Thoughtseize. I could force the Grief. It ends up getting 2 cards, but I decide what they are versus... But then they reanimate and they take the other card. Yeah, I'm just going to let this resolve. The Grief pitched Thoughtseize. That means they have something better than Thoughtseize to do with this 1 mana. Ooh, going for Stoneforge. They're not worried about my Force. They are worried about the ground game. Okay. I'm going to force this. That Grief is good for 2 cards anyway. The card it takes when it comes in, and then whatever I do to eventually answer the Grief. Interesting that they didn't take the Force first, though. Because then they could have guaranteed the Reanimate. Unless this was a master plan to get 3 cards on in my hand. Or if they just have another Reanimate effect. That would be pretty powerful. Okay, they seem to be representing a Bowmaster. And I've drawn another Force blue card since they griefed me. So that's pretty good for me. Dark Ritual. The One Ring. No way, Jose. There's that Force blue card. And they have 1 card left. If their last card is a Bowmaster, that will be annoying, but I would like to start pressuring them. Like, if they just last card in hand Bowmaster, kill my Bowmaster, then they're ahead. That sucks for me. But I would like to start pressuring if they were in on that One Ring and it didn't deliver. I'm going to get basic Plains and put Yorion in the grip. This Surgical is actually pretty nice. They tapped a black mana, then untapped it. What does that mean? I mean, if they have Bowmaster, they're going to get me anyway, so I'm just going to keep applying pressure here. Sure, yeah. Like, if I don't attack here, they can ping my Bowmaster, and then they don't trade off the Orc armies, and, like, I end up with an Orc army to their Bowmaster. But that is not that much different than the board state as it currently exists. And I have a Force Negation under a Cryptic Coat. Because if they don't have Bowmaster there, even though they did telegraph that they do, then it's insane spew not to attack. And the loss, if I do attack, isn't that big. The loss was Orc Army, which I don't care that much about. And now they're in a Cryptic Coat squeeze. I can bounce and replay this every other turn. The Bowmaster is doing work, though. Would have loved to cast this Preordain. Okay, pick this up in the end step, which makes this blockable, but that's fine. Happy to trade off with a Bowmaster. And unlock important cards like Brainstorm from my hand. In for 2 now. Ooh, a fetch. We've got some action. What's going on over there? Trade off with Opposition Agent. Another Bowmaster. Sure. Okay, so they ping and block. Except they don't ping because this still has Ward. Whoops. Yeah, they were supposed to ping me and double block. Yeah, the unblockable is a property of the equipment. and the ward is just intrinsic on the card. They said in the chat they thought it was ward 1. Yeah, ward 2 on cloaked creatures. Yeah, said they couldn't see it on their monitor and didn't hover over it. You know what they say about assuming. Okay, now I get another True Name Nemesis. This one's an Underground Sea. And I am still dead if they do Witherbloom combo. I'm just suspicious of these Bayous. I'm set up against graveyard stuff. Or at least the next graveyard thing. But like Thoughtseize and Tomb Reanimate probably wins them this game, or Grief Reanimate is going to be good. Fatal Push. The Ward 2 does work this time. They can pay. Okay, big deal. And they're not attacking, which must mean they plan to block. Attack. And they didn't block either. So this is really important. This is just a fundamental Magic thing where if your creatures aren't going to block, you better attack with them. That's just 2 damage that they don't have now. Okay, the One Ring. This is a powerful card that I don't want to play against. And their last card in hand is Thoughtseize. But yeah, I could be at 13 right now because these, if you weren't going to block with these, figure that out before the next combat step and get in there while I'm tapped out for your 2 damage. Here we go. Yeah, that's a good attack. Get them in there. They're not blocking. They have no business not attacking. And I'm going to dance the scripted code around the Thoughtseize forever. That's never going to hit that. Ooh, mana number 4. Every day we get closer to Yorion. Tundra and Cryptic Coat. That's a Polluted Delta under there. And this Thoughtseize is dangerous unless they're going to turn around and win the game. The Thoughtseize has a lot of problems to it. Because going to 4 versus an unblockable creature, pretty tough. And once I go into this combat, Thoughtseize basically becomes uncastable. And is it time to double block my Cloak with these Bowmasters and give me these cantrips? I'm holding a lot of them. Bowmaster number 3. And they now know they have to ping my face here. Okay. It's a lot of Bowmasters, but Cryptic Code is still just handling it. They can double block, lose 1 Bowmaster plus the army, and then they go to 3. 1 mana short of picking up and replaying Coat all at once, but they are DOB here. And they packed it up. Cryptic Coat, unstoppable. Onto the final round, right? Yeah, that's 4. On to the final round. The NYSE Open is a prestigious, long-running vintage tournament based out of New York City. It's returning again this summer, June 22nd, 2024 in Plainview, New York. This 15 proxy event has a $500 entry. That's a lot of money, but what are we playing for? First place gets a Black Lotus. 2nd through 8th place get Time Twister, Time Walk, and all 5 Moxen. At 115 players, a playset of Bazaar Baghdad is added to the prize pool. At 135, 4 Mishra's Workshops. At 155, 4 foil Gaia's Cradle. This prize pool is better than Eternal Weekend. If you think it's worth playing for, sign up for the event on melee.gg or use the link in the video description, and I will definitely see you there. I'm on the play in the final round. I think that's 5 for 5 on die rolls. And I'm going to keep my hand. Here's this Triumph. Hopefully we can set up Triumph with Aminatou at least once in this league. Not that I'm complaining. Positive records locked. Playing for a bread and butter 4-1. Feel like it's been a while since I got to say that. Ooh. There she is. It's here. Okay. Flooded Strand can fetch either basic, so I'm going to draw Flooded Strand now and Aminatou next turn. Volcanic Island. Oh, baby. All right. This is why I put that basic land on top, and this is why I didn't put Aminatou 2 down, because if they had a 1-drop creature that I wanted to prismatically end, I want to fetch and still have Aminatou around. So I am kind of in the spot where I'm already exposed to Wasteland. Maybe I just get Tundra. But if I could start assembling basic lands, at least they can't cut me off an important color. I don't believe there's a basic swamp in the list. There's not. There's 2 islands, 2 plains. I can't play on full basics here, but I can get a basic plane, so at least make sure my most important cards are castable if I draw them. I will send this to its prismatic end. Another one of these jerks. I don't really want to cast Aminatou into Daze. I can get basic island here. So Aminatou, am I willing to Force of Will a Daze here to get Aminatou set up? I think the answer is no. I think I just put Yorion in hand. But then I have to play around Daze next turn as well. I could just send Narset, see if she sticks. I could go for the Aminatou. Alright, I'm going for it. We're gaming. I have the Force. It's not very good in this matchup overall. Brainstorm in response. And if this sets up a Cath, then it's actually good. The plus means it's not just going to die to one combat from DRC. I'm going to get a second loot out of it. Or not loot, whatever this is. Filter. They do have Daze. This is what I signed up for. This is the world I chose to live in. Ugh, double Daze. Ouch. Okay. Well, that sucks. Just got million for one. But they did pick up all of the lands that they owned in their life. They milled a tropical island. Some versions of Is It Delver have literally one tropical island in them. I assume if they're that willing to mill it, that's not true here. Ouch. All right. And they're Wasteland Gaming on top of all of it. This would be an insane turn to draw any blue source at all, or flip a Miracle Triumph. I'm on deck. Oh no! No basic swamp. GG. A lot of good draws in my deck, but also that was the turn to really drive it in. I'm on deck. Okay. I get to play a little bit, maybe. I could cast Narset and dig. Yeah, I'm going to play Narset. This also gets dazed, but I think that's okay. If she finds me a removal spell and absorbs 3 damage, that's a pretty good thing to do on this board. They milled away a DRC, resolved their Brainstorm, and had another Daze. Youch! Opponent just coming for my whole family here. And they're milling away the volcanic islands that they picked up. They are all in on this Dragon's Rage Channeler. The next hit puts me to 8, which is still fine. The hit after that puts me to 5, which is starting to be deeply concerning. If I can kill this thing while I'm still at 8, that's a playable game. 5 is bad, 2 is functionally game over. I'm at 8. Come on, deck. Full of white cards. Ponder. Show me the goods. Those are indeed the goods. Do not shuffle this. And Swords to Plowshares. They hesitated on the Ponder so long that I thought maybe they had Force of Will, but looks like they didn't. But unfortunately, we're fully set up for land Murktide here, which is going to kill me in one hit, and I have no outs to it because I know what I'm drawing next turn. Land, fetch. What in your deck costs 2 mana? Oh, okay. I'll take that one. All right. Okay. You're saying there's a chance. Orcish Bowmaster could ping this thing. They'll need a Force of Will to stop it. Daze both doesn't do it, and also there's only one left in their deck. All right, come on, big Bowmaster. Please resolve. We're in. We're in. And they kept their top card, probably because it flips Delver. At least I hope because it flips Delver and not because it's Murktide Regent. But I can shuffle and get a wild look here. Oh no, 2 mana. And Basic Plains is not an island, so I can't just put Plow on top here. Okay, I am fetching for Tundra and hoping the deck delivers. Portent targeting yourself. I have a fetch land, so targeting me doesn't actually lock me out here. Chose to shuffle their library, which the chat does actually read. Shuffles their library. What happened to that on Ponder? This would be a huge spot to have a Meticulous Archive in the deck. Grab a Tundra, and come on, deck. White card. Bowmaster triggers off the Portent. Doesn't really matter. Good card. Oh, we're dead. All right. GG. Yeah, that was a little behind the whole time, and I just YOLO'd into a Daze board. The second Daze is what really fucked it up. Yeah, Hydroblasts all come in. I don't want any Force of Wills in my deck. Lavinia's not, like, good, but she also does impact some of the cards in their deck, and I think she's better than Force of Will. I can't be tempted to get into a Force of Will fight over Daze again. This hand looks really good. I'm going to keep it. Exactly this Delver matchup makes me wish that I had access to Basic Swamp. Seems in these 80 cards you can make room for one of them. Bauble targeting yourself. Delta, didn't like that card. And a Ponder, okay. This is an insane matchup for Baleful Strix, though. This is some old school, guaranteed 2-for-1 nonsense. Unless they're 4-color. But we did see Tropical Island in their deck. I'm not going to shuffle here. I don't mind them knowing about one card in my hand where not shuffling is just technically correct. Because I am inclined to draw more lands here. Like, I always want more lands versus Delver. Until I have 4 or 5 in play. And now we have that lined up. And Strix resolved. Drew a card on the way in. They're going to have to either kill it or smash into it to remove it, because that's how Strix versus Delver works. Yeah, I can get basic planes with this one. Attack. I think I'd rather leave up Bowmaster than just grab Yorion. Seeking the Beast. Exiled Force of Will and Dragon's Rage Channeler. Okay. So they can cast these cards until their next end step, which means that at their end step, the Force of Will is gone, which means I could still end step the Orcish Bowmaster. Okay. I'm going to Bowmaster in the end step. Pretty sure they can't force here. Brainstorm in response. This does give them Delirium, even if the Bowmaster does make it through. Bowmaster did make it through. Go face now. And I'm drawing wild, so I'll just go to my turn. Okay, this is enough lands. I'm good. Deck, chill. And I'm going to fetch basic planes and put Yorion in my hand now. This DRC has to attack next turn unless they do something to change their Delirium status, and the Baleful Strix gets to eat it. And their deck's full of lightning bolts, but that is a fine exchange if they want to, or you Pyroblast that, sure. Okay, that's gone. I'm at 18 life. That's not low enough to start firing plows into days when I have 5 mana. And for their 3, I'm at 15. And going to my turn. Sweet. Another Bowmaster. I like that. I'm going to attack with the ones that I have. And I'm going to plow in the middle of combat. Because if we get into a fight where, like, they bolt my Bowmaster, then Brainstorm looking for an answer, then I can play the other Bowmaster, and then this one lights them up mid-combat, I'd rather do all that before combat damage is assigned. Another Beast Seeking. Hit 2 fetch lands. Not very good. Or at least doesn't look very good. Might be great. I don't know. That might be exactly what they needed. It certainly gets them green mana to start playing these Questing Druids. But the Questing Druids are in an interesting spot because many of the non-green spells in their deck are cantrips. A Bauble, can't really afford to use that, but it's in play. Okay, so we've got a Murktide Regent. I will respond with a Bowmaster. A Daze saves their Questing Druid here, but doesn't actually counter my spell. Force of Will does both. Okay, Force Pitching Daze. Okay, that's handled. Bowmaster is gone. Questing Druid's a 3/3. Murktide Regent resolves. And I'm going to fetch Tundra and Mystic Sanctuary in the end step and plow the Murktide. Fetch Tundra. Fetch Mystic Sanctuary. Only one target. I'll take it. Go to my turn. Plow Big Mercs. And I could cast Yorion, Lorien Revealed, or Triumph of St. Catherine here. These are all viable things I could do. I'm going to fetch another Black Source, and I want to find the intersection of high impact and least painful if it gets dazed. Like, if Triumph gets dazed, that's kind of bad. They can't Pyroblast Triumph in the future, though. And, alright, yeah, I'm going to send Lorien Revealed as the card that I care least here if it gets countered, and they're least likely to have a counter for it. Okay, Force of Will would have got any one of them. And now my hand is 2 big creatures. They have a huge creature in play, though. I'm going to have to solve for that eventually. They can afford to take 1 to bobble me here, yeah. It's more important to have a spell in your hand and go to a shockingly low 20 life than it is to just be worried about what Bowmaster's going to do. Because I'm going to chump with this Orc Army this turn anyway. Good chance of it. Unholy Heat. Alright, good draw. They got a 5/5. They didn't play their other Questing Druid first, which makes me think they have another spell over there. Okay, I'll block. It's a 5/5. Kath currently trades with it. The old second main that card. Could have been a 2/2. Ponder. So Ponder puts Kath into daze, but Ponder finding a removal spell is actually sick. I'm just going to make sure Kath doesn't get dazed first. Big lifelink body. Real nice here. And then I'll play the Ponder. Yo. Alright, double plow. Keep them coming. Brainstorm finally unlocked. Very good draw here. Land, kind of medium. 1 card left in hand. Ponder. Alright, yeah, The train is rolling. Please use Ponder's ability. They did not use Ponder's ability. No, that's exactly the card I didn't want to see, and I'm exactly dead to this shit. Yeah, Lightning Bolt's fine. I guess Brazen Borrower kills me too, but this is literally exactly lethal. Ouch. All right, yeah, with the double plow just rolled up for next turn. Okay, yep. Well done. A positive record is the final with this Aminatou Fate Shifter Miracles deck. I think I got a little tempted to do the thing. Like, the series of events psychologically that led to losing game 1 of round 5 was basically like Triumph in my hand. I said out loud, I hope we can Aminatou that. I drew Aminatou and I was like, okay, I'm in. And I think if I'm just playing on my own, not for content, or there's nothing on the line and I'm just playing my deck or whatever, or if I'm at the Legacy Pro Tour or Eternal Weekend or whatever we want to call the high stakes Legacy thing, I just play around days there and cycle my Lure and Reveal and just get set up. And maybe that result is different. Overall, though, I did enjoy how much there was to do with Aminatou in this league. I did not feel like this was just a thing that was warping my mana that didn't really affect anything. Like Flickering the Cauldron came up, Flickering Narset was on the table at one point, like Flickering Cryptic Coat could have come up, Baleful Strix. And I did some like fetchland based selection. There was one game where I had her in play for like 3 or 4 turns, and she did pick up a card, put away a card, then shuffle in all the turns she was in play. I'm still not sure this Planeswalker is really Legacy viable. Like, obviously, like this deck was sweet. We came up with a positive record, and the losses were to a Murktide Regent that was completely unprotected, and I just bricked on my 4th land for like 5 turns with the 4 mana answer in hand. And then that last game where they just found Unholy Heat off a series of Ponders to Xaxes me with full stability in play. Like, okay, that's Magic. That's going to happen. But it's not like this deck was not competitive. It's just, we're talking about opportunity cost, which is by choosing to play Aminatou, we've then added incentive to have enough packages in here that now Yorion makes sense, which means we're less likely to draw our important cards on time because we have a deck that's a third bigger than a normal deck. And if you want to play Aminatou, you can, and I think the shell is actually pretty good for it. If you want to win the most matches of Legacy, I would not be considering Aminatou, but those are 2 different conversations and depends on what you want out of the game and what you want out of your time playing Legacy. Swaggery, thank you for sending me this. It was a lot of fun, and I think this is a pretty good build of this. Everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon, and I'll see you next time.